Love you.
All right, I'm also paying information. You know where Kenny the Jet Smith at?
Yes, I got Kenny too. I know exactly where he's at.
Okay, now this one right here, get you going back. I'm gonna get you some motherfucking big dollars. Do you know where Ernie Johnson is at?
Ooh, let me work on that one right quick. That's a tough one.
Alright, and remember, I'm paying top dollar for all that information. Love you, boy. Hey, don't tell nobody.
Alright, one.
Alright.
No, he on IG. I've never professed. I've never professed that I was as great as Shaq. But what I will say,
yes, sir,
I got what I got because I worked my ass off. Now,
yes,
Shaq has been the one to say it. That he didn't work as hard, he didn't train as hard, he didn't eat as well as he should have.
Right.
Shaq is the one that anytime someone wins an MVP, he talks about how he should have been the MVP over Steve Nash.
Shannon Sharpe ain't staying quiet anymore. He's coming for Shaquille O'Neal's head, and it's getting real ugly out here. This ain't just about hoops. Nah, this is personal. Real personal. Folks are whispering that Shaq might have played puppet master in setting Shannon up with this insane $50 million lawsuit. Can you believe that?
Alright, and remember, I'm paying top dollar for all that information. Love you, boy. Hey, don't tell nobody.
Alright, one.
Alright, go.
Right when Shannon was about to bag a massive $100 million deal with D-Speen, boom, here comes the lawsuit like clockwork. Tell me that ain't looking shady. People out here saying this lawsuit didn't just pop up out of thin air. It hit right when Shannon was about to level up and change the game for himself. Now, he's backing out of that deal. The deal. And everyone's side-eyeing Shaq like, is this payback? Because let's be real, these two been throwing low-key shots at each other for years. But this is on another level. And hold up, it gets even dirtier. Word is there's some leaked audio making rounds. And in it, Shaq's allegedly out here straight up asking folks for dirt on Shannon. Yeah, snooping around, trying to drag out every skeleton he can find. And guess what the streets are saying? Shaq supposedly found something real messy, something that could flip Shannon's whole world upside down. And the wild part? This lawsuit? It's just the beginning of the storm. This whole mess centers around a woman named Gabriella Zika. But get this, insiders are saying she ain't even the first woman Shaq allegedly used in some twisted setup like this. Can you believe that? Word on the street is there was another situation before Gabriella, and guess whose name keeps coming up in the mix? Shaq's. His fingerprints are all over that one too. It's starting to look like a straight-up trap, and Shannon might have stepped right into it without even seeing it coming.
That man said he'll give you a chance.
You think Jay-Z or
probably not a good time right now.
You're silly, man. You're silly. You're wrong. You're silly, man. You're silly, man.
Go see if you can fix the wall, will you, Shaq?
The wall, man.
Yeah. Here, back here.
Fix the wall,
I'll go.
Man.
See if I can fix the wall.
My point was
too soon, Kenny.
My point was.
Now, receipts? They're popping up everywhere right now. People pulling up screenshots, clips, DMs, you name it. And let's be real, it ain't looking good for Shaq in these streets. But here's where it really starts to get wild. Rewind to early 2022. Matt Barnes is just doing his thing, keeping his name solid in the sports world like he always does, then out of nowhere. Bam! Some audio clip starts flying around like crazy. And guess whose voice is on it? Allegedly, it's Matt Barnes himself spilling the tea. He's talking about how Shaq was ready to drop serious stacks just to dig up dirt on Shannon. Not no small change either. We're talking real street money, that under-the-table kind of hush cash. And where that audio came from? That's still a mystery. Some folks say it was from a private convo that leaked. Others swear it was caught during a podcast or maybe even a hot mic moment. But one thing's clear, you can't mistake that voice. Matt Barnes said what he said, and it shook folks up. Matt wasn't out here talking about Shaq having some lil grudge over MVP awards or whatever. Nah, he made it sound like Shaq was ready to go low, real low, just to mess with Shannon. And if you peep the timeline, everything lines up. Remember when that drama exploded after the whole Nikola Jokic MVP situation? Shannon had even hinted that Shaq's vibe seemed mad jealous. And Shaq? Oh, he did not like that one bit. But instead of clapping back on social like most folks would, Shaq played it cold, real cold, billionaire style, silent, calculated, and deadly. Here's where it gets real shady. After that whole MVP mess blew up, Things between Shaq and Shannon went quiet. No more back and forth online, no sneak dissing in interviews, nothing. Folks actually started thinking they squashed the beef. But nah, that was just the calm before the storm. Behind closed doors, Shaq was already plotting. Word is he started digging, stacking up dirt, just waiting for the right time to make his move. And when you look at Shannon's glow-up, man was winning. New podcast deals, big-time guest spots, and everyone whispering about that monster $100 million DSP bag he was about to secure. Of course, Shaq would play it quiet. No messy back and forth, just applying pressure in the shadows. But wait, this story gets even messier. Still think Shaq wasn't pulling the strings? Let me hit you with this. Remember that viral TMZ clip? Not just any random video either.
He came out with a diss track, and I heard your response to it, but his was more, there's another situation. The passion of whatever, and I believe you caught it straight, because I don't think you was, in essence, talking about it more so than Gilbert. You did, and then it spun to that. Have you guys talked?
We haven't. Shaq feels the way he feels, and he's perfectly fine to feel that way. I said what I said. I still think Shaq is a phenomenal basketball player, even though, you know, he minimized my career. I'm fine.
This one had Shannon caught on camera getting way too cozy with some fan at an event. And yeah, Shannon's always had that smooth charm, a people's champ vibe, especially with the ladies. And yeah, folks already clocked that he seems to favor white women. That's old news. But this video, it felt too perfect, like someone set the scene just right to catch him slipping. Shannon's in the clip, grinning, leaning in mad close, looking all relaxed. And the second it hit the net, the whispers started flying. People were speculating, questioning, throwing shade like crazy. The whole internet lit up over that one clip. And it's got folks wondering, was this just bad luck? Or did Shaq have a hand in setting that moment up too? This whole thing straight up smells like a setup, especially when you peep how that TMZ video went crazy viral. Then boom, that same woman in the clip? Her name starts getting whispered behind the scenes tied to this wild $50 million lawsuit against Shannon. Come on now, TMZ don't just roll up out of nowhere with cameras ready. Somebody made that call, somebody pointed the lens, somebody wanted that footage to hit the net.
Now what you think about that?
I'm looking for a sinner. I'm looking for a sinner. Send me Miss Nasty B. What her name was? The one that you
Miss Nasty B?
Umbrella?
Miss Nasty?
Yeah, I'm looking for. I don't want nobody walking straight and narrow.
Oh, come on.
Nah,
So,
I want to sinner.
listen, I thought we as
If this was a trap, they laid it perfect. They set the bait, and Shannon, just being his usual friendly, outgoing self, walked right into it without even realizing what was coming. That little moment on camera, that might have been all Shaq needed to really start stirring things up behind the scenes. You see how clean this was lined up? This ain't no accident. Let's break it down. Right at the center of this storm is Gabriella Zika. She's the one bringing that monster lawsuit, claiming Shannon owes her $50 million. And here's where it gets extra messy. Guess who's her lawyer? Tony Busby. Yeah, that name should have everyone on alert. This, the same powerhouse attorney who went after Deshaun Watson with all those cases. And don't forget, he's had smoke with Jay-Z too. When Busby steps in, he ain't coming for small change. He comes for reputations, careers, everything. So what's Gabriella saying? She's accusing Shannon of forcing himself on her, hurting her physically, and messing with her head emotionally. She's talking about trauma, serious stress, real psychological damage. These ain't no small claims. This is graphic, heavy stuff. But it don't stop there, because just when folks thought it couldn't get messier, word hits that Busby's sitting on audio recordings that he swears backs up her story. That's when the internet caught fire. Everybody was talking, everybody had an opinion. But Shannon? Oh, he didn't just sit back and take it. He clapped back right away, loud and clear, making sure his side was heard. Shannon fired back hard. He wasn't playing. He straight up told folks, play the whole 10-minute recording, not them chopped up bits. That kind of response? That's a man who's confident he ain't got nothing to hide. He's saying the full audio tells a completely different story, and he's not backing down for nobody. Shannon claims Gabriella was all the way down with it, that she was a willing participant, and now the media's just slicing and dicing clips to paint him like the villain. But this is where things take a real dark, twisted turn. Because once the internet started digging, what popped up? Leaked texts. And not just any texts, screenshots that allegedly show Shannon and Gabriella talking about some wild role-play fantasies. And when I say wild, we're talking next-level stuff. One of the scenarios folks are whispering about, something called race play. And listen, if you don't know what that is, you might just want to keep it that way. It's deep, it's dark, and it ain't nothing to joke about. But let's not act like this all came out of nowhere, because Shannon, he's been pretty open about being into some freaky stuff. This ain't news if you've been paying attention. Rewind to 2023, when he was co-hosting that Nightcap podcast with Chad Ochocinco. They got to chatting about actress Yvonne Orji, that gorgeous queen from Insecure, you know the one. And now she's hosting that balloon challenge show on Netflix too. Yvonne's always been real about saving herself for marriage, proud of it, standing on it. And what happened? Chad threw out the idea. Maybe Yvonne could be a good match for Shannon. And Shannon? Man just laughed it off and said straight up, "Nah, I'm looking for a sinner." Can you believe that? Then, without skipping a beat, Shannon dropped the name of adult film star Mrs. DB. Nasty. He said it loud and clear. He ain't out here looking for no sweet, wholesome Sunday school type woman. Nah, he wants somebody spicy, somebody nasty. And he didn't even try to hide it. Man said it with his chest. No shame at all. He's been out here letting folks know exactly what he's into. And let's keep it real. Nobody's here to knock his preferences, do you? But facts are facts. Shannon's always been wide open about his lifestyle. Them flirty comments, wild jokes about women, on-air thirsting, he's been broadcasting it for the world to see. So now, with Gabriella's lawsuit blowing up all over the blogs with all these insane claims, can we really act surprised? Man been telling us who he was in 4K, and folks just laughed, kept it pushing like it was nothing. But here's where it really gets wild. Gabriella? She might not even be the only one in this so-called Get Shannon plot. Word on the street is there's another case. And guess what? Shaq's name? Yeah, it's floating around that one too. Let's break it down. Remember Michelle Evans? Most people forgot all about her, but she came first, way before Gabriella was even in the picture. Michelle filed her lawsuit against Shannon back in 2023 in New York. And get this, she wasn't backed by no big shot lawyer either. She went in solo, repping herself, telling her truth. According to those legal docs People magazine dug up, Michelle claimed she had a long-term relationship with Shannon, almost a whole decade. Ended around 2010 after Shannon allegedly stepped out on her. And when it all fell apart, Michelle came forward with some dark accusations that had folks shook. And the wildest part? Nobody was even talking about Michelle's case back then. It just slid right under the radar, like folks didn't want to touch it. But now, all eyes are back on that case, and people are starting to say it's looking way too much like what's going down with Gabriella. Michelle Evans didn't hold nothing back. She came with claims so heavy they left folks straight up stunned, Michelle said. After their first major blow-up, Shannon demanded intimacy, and when she said no, what she says happened next is pure nightmare material. According to Michelle, Shannon forced her down, made her get on her knees, and forced her to perform against her will. She says she said no, made it clear, but he didn't stop. And it didn't end there. Michelle says he then tossed her on the bed and forced himself on her, allegedly telling her, "I'm gonna make it so no other man will want you." That quote, it rocked the internet to its core. Now, just so we're clear, Michelle isn't suing Shannon for assault in the strict legal sense, but she is saying he threatened her, tried to wreck her career, and left her dealing with deep emotional scars. And the backlash? It was brutal. When she spoke out, folks online dragged her name through the dirt, called her a liar, tried to erase her completely like she didn't matter. And yes, Shannon's denied everything Michelle said, just like he's denied the other accusations out here. But let's be real. Once, maybe folks can say it's just noise. Twice, you start to look a little closer. 3 women, each coming forward with stories that sound way too alike. At some point, it starts to feel like we're watching a whole pattern play out right in front of us. And now people are quietly giving the side eye to something that's been bubbling in the background ever since Gabriella's claims hit. Those infamous Diddy parties. Yeah, folks are starting to connect dots. But to be fair, Shannon Sharpe's been loud and clear. He says he ain't never been part of Diddy's wild scenes. He's told folks straight up he don't rock with that so-called freaky, culty Hollywood energy. But when you start lining up these lawsuits, those leaked texts, and all the controlling, aggressive behavior folks are describing, the vibe? It's way too close to what's being exposed in them Diddy investigations. We're talking power trips, emotional control, threats, silence, all the same patterns. And it ain't just fans out here connecting the dots. Remember that moment on stage not too long ago, when somebody brought up Jay-Z and Diddy's private convos? Guess who else was right there? Shaquille O'Neal. And what did Shaq do? Man got real quiet, stood up, and dipped. Didn't say a word, just ghosted the whole scene. Left folks looking around like, wait a second, what does Shaq know that he ain't saying? He never dropped Shannon's name. But the vibe? It was screaming loud like, I know some folks who live that life but fake like they don't. And don't forget, Shannon's been out here branding himself for years as that clean-cut family man. Bible verses, motivational talks, pushing that whole Unsi Shay image. But these lawsuits? They're tearing that mask clean off. And what's being shown underneath? It's a whole different picture, y'all. And here's the kicker. Sources close to the situation are whispering that Shannon believes Shaq's out here playing dirty chess behind the scenes, smiling in public like everything's cool, but moving pieces in private like he's trying to checkmate Shannon for good, cracking jokes in public but allegedly pulling strings behind the scenes while Shannon's whole world crashes down. Shake's out here making slick posts, throwing shade online like it's comedy hour. Just peep his recent IG activity. Man's not breaking a sweat at all. He even made fun of that leaked Matt Barnes audio, posted a meme like, dang, got caught again. I need that info. I'm paying $2. Wild, right? And meanwhile, Shannon, man's life is unraveling at lightning speed. His reps taking hit after hit. That podcast, without Joe, struggling bad. His TV presence, shaky at best. And them brand deals, they're starting to vanish like smoke. Everything he spent years grinding for is now hanging by a thread. But here's the craziest part. The more Shannon tries to defend himself, the worse it gets. Every time he claps back, boom, another leak hits the net. More texts, more recordings, more mess. It's like every word he says triggers a fresh wave of drama. And all the while, Shaq's just out here chilling, living his best life, dropping petty captions, laughing it up online like none of this touches him, unbothered, unfazed. So now I gotta leave you with some real questions. Do you think Shannon Sharpe's really getting done dirty right now? Or is Shaq quietly throwing him under the bus while acting like his hands are clean? And the biggest question of all, can Shannon even bounce back from this storm? Or is this the end of everything he built? Drop your take in the comments. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss the next wild update. Because trust me, this saga, it's nowhere near done. See you on the next one.